I've had an interesting week. It was completely unnecessarily stressful, and I realized that my menopause was probably taking over a little bit too much, and wow, that just calmed me down and changed me. I just kind of went and everything was okay. Growing older is challenging. I still think it's easier than growing up as a young person, for sure. Because you get to choose not to be around motherfuckers. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, bankruptcy. I'm filing for bankruptcy. And a friend of mine asked me, how did you come to this decision? Like, where did that come from? You know, how did you get there? I don't know. Honestly, it was what I call my God voice. It's when the universe talks to me, it's very quiet, and it's just this very wispy thought in the back of my head. And it was, you need to file for bankruptcy. And actually it said bankruptcy. That's what you need. Why bankruptcy? It's not bankruptcy itself. What it is for me is removing the shame that surrounds money for me and finances for me. I have a lot of shame surrounding that. Now, with that said, I also have a lot of trauma surrounding finances. My parents literally had physical fights with each other about money. My parents also have the same scarcity mindset. The problem is they are on polar opposite ends of the reaction to that, the way it manifests itself in them. So my mother wants to spend all of her money because she thinks she's never going to get a paycheck again. And my dad wants to save all of his money because he thinks he's never going to get a paycheck again. Of course, I'm using extremes just to illustrate the idea. That also creates a very black and white situation for a child growing up in that environment. It made my brain think, if I did this, I was taking my dad's side. If I do this, I'm taking my mom's side in regards to money. And I still, at 49 years old, have my parents inside my head arguing about my financial decisions. This is a problem. I have been no contact with them for over a year. But the effects, I didn't understand. I did not understand how deeply they go until I've had this space away from them. Realizing that I don't have my own thoughts. And it's really a surreal feeling. So part of this bankruptcy came from trying to become financially literate. This is the other part of the complication in regards to my parents. I defaulted to my father about my finances in order to have a connection with him. He reinforced the distrust that I have in myself. Now I'm learning, and I have gotten way better with the trust. Oh my God, 100% better. But there are steps for me, there were steps that I took in order to, you know, have more confidence and feel better about myself. And this is the one thing I will definitively say about therapy and healing and going through this journey. This is 100% without a doubt true. Everybody has their own way, their own path. There is no industrialized way to heal yourself. I can't just talk about bankruptcy. I can't just talk about finances. I can't just talk about, the trauma of math. My father traumatizing me about fucking multiplication when I was a little kid. So numbers scare the shit out of me. The dyslexia, which went undiagnosed. I have to go very slow. And when you have an impatient father, you understand there might be a problem. What I have found to help me the most is to slow down. I don't require myself to do things unless I absolutely need to. I recently had a refrigerator go down. I was having a very stressful week because of my menopause. It was just, I was crazy. I felt crazy. So what I said today was, I require you to do one thing and one thing only. Go get a refrigerator. Because I had spent a week without one. I'm using ice and trying to eat all the food in the fridge, you know what I mean? So that's all I did, is I said, today, the only requirement you have is to get a refrigerator. And you can fuck off the rest of the day. That right there has been the most helpful thing for me, is being extremely patient. Reparenting is not only learning how to rediscipline yourself, right? Reteach yourself. It's also how to you are actually reinforcing your positive processing moments. You are literally being the parent for yourself. That's what I do. I am literally being the parent for myself. When I have a success about a thing, I will kind of mind, body step out of myself and I love you. I'm so proud of you. You're doing a great job. I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Because I'm proud of it. It took me a long time to get to a place where I could be proud of myself in a real way, in a real deeply profound way, to be sovereign and understand what that means and how it feels, because it actually means letting go of everything, wildly enough. And I struggle. De-shaming is the biggest tool. And I was just speaking about the reparenting. De-shaming is, wow. Brene Brown, Dr. Brene Brown has amazing, amazing, amazing material all about shame, what it does. That was paramount in my healing, in my recognizing how much shame controlled my life. When I am focused on de-shaming, when I am feeling my best, is when I'm not judging myself. And I'll feel it creeping in, and I back her off, like, stop. There's no reason for that. We don't have to do that. Why are you talking about this? That is a daily thing. I have to be aware of myself, right? I have to be aware of myself to know that I'm actually shaming myself about something stupid, like a broken glass that I literally have had sitting there on the back of my sink for like a month, 2 months. Why do I need, is it hurting anything? No, I just don't really know what to do with it. I haven't had a box yet to put it in, so that I can put it into the garbage kind of thing. So why would I shame myself about it? It's not doing anything. It's just there. It's okay that it's there. And here I am like, you're going to cut your... No, I'm not. There's no children. It's ridiculous things like finding things. It's not just the bankruptcy. It's not just the trauma. It's not just the fights from watching my parents fight about the thing. It's not my mom spending money, tons of money in front of me, and then hearing my dad talk about how we don't have any money. You see what I mean? These two polar opposites, and they're including me in these conversations, and I have no business being involved in them because I'm 10 and I don't understand any of it. But here I am being asked to take sides about it. It can permeate and ooze into adulthood, to where you have an adult who is so afraid of finances that they're always in financial trouble, because they have this weird, deep-seated need for their parents just to be the ones that like do that. Because I'm scared of it, because look at how y'all act around it and because of it. So why would I want to touch it? I don't want to touch it. It's gross. I hate it. These are my feelings surrounding money. And I know that that is the root issue. It's not money. It's not the fact that my parents came from poor. My father had a single mother. My mother came from a Irish Catholic 14-member family with no money. You know, they're eating beef tongue sandwiches for dinner, you know? So they both have real big issues themselves. I got them. So what I'm doing right now is I'm in the process of removing all of those things and understanding it's not the money. It's not the math, right? It's not the bankruptcy. It's not them fighting about money. It's all of these things that are complicating my relationship with money, which should not be complicated. They are numbers, and as far as I'm concerned, money isn't real. It's a tool. Like, we all know this. So when I was asked, why bankruptcy? How did you come to this decision? I couldn't answer the question, and I still can't answer it today, because I know it's the right thing to do. I'm ready to do it. That's the other thing. I understand a lot more about finances, and that was going to YouTube. That's what YouTube is all about, is presenting enough material where everyone can find something for themselves. So that's what I did. And the more I learned about it, the less afraid I became of it. Now what is happening is I am in the bankruptcy. I have a lawyer. It's awesome because she lets you make payments, right? Because clearly if you're filing for bankruptcy, you're not going to have that money up front. And full disclosure, it's costing me a little over $1,000. I think it's like $1,037. My bankruptcy lawyer is awesome. I love her. I trust her. And it's very important for you to find a trusted lawyer. And this is the reason why I found this out just in talking to her. There are trustees, and the trustees basically look at all your finances, okay? And they decide whether or not they're going to give you the bankruptcy. And there are two different kinds that I'm aware of that my lawyer told me about. One is the Chapter 7, and the other is the Chapter 13. The Chapter 7, the way I interpreted it to be is like the 1040 tax return. You know, it's like the simplest one that you can do yourself. That's kind of the Chapter 7. It's the streamline, in and out, you're good to go, clears everything off of your credit, and you start over. And then there's the 13. The 13 has like more complicated steps. You might be making payments for creditors, stuff like that. And that involves, if you have like a bunch of different assets, land, houses, cars, whatever, that might put you into that category. This is the other reason why it's important to hire a professional. They're going to know where you fit in and what best suits you. Here's the thing about the trustees and why having a professional is so important. These bankruptcy lawyers are dealing with the trustees over and over and over and over and over again. So you get my drift, right? Like they know which trustee is going to go for this, which trustee is going to go for that, how they think, how they operate. You don't know that. Your dad doesn't know that. Your uncle, who dabbled a bit and does taxes during tax season on the side for extra money, doesn't know that. So hire a professional. There is a lot of documentation. And here's where the mental health, self-care side of it comes in. When I feel overwhelmed, I stop. And I log out of the application and I just go on about my day. Because there's so much behind it, I'm aware of it, right? And again, here comes the self-awareness. This is why self-awareness is important for me. Because there I am on the app and I think I'm doing okay. And then 20 minutes later, I'm about to rage. You know, because this won't load up right. It turns out it's a JPEG instead of a PDF. And a very simple thing, but because I'm working myself up and I'm starting to feel overwhelmed and I'm not being self-aware and present, I don't realize that's happening. I don't see the easy fix. So what I do now is when I start to get worked up, we're done. We're done. I will finish this process when I finish this process. And my lawyer isn't going to file a darn thing until I get everything put in there and until I make that last payment. So I know how long it's going to take me to make all the payments for the $1,000 that it's going to cost me. You see what I mean? So I am allowing myself that time. You have this amount of time to do it, period. So that helps. Having the grace and space to allow myself to do these things is very, very important. Slowing down, huge. Slow down.